Hello, and welcome to Anime Audio Commentary. Today I'll be commenting on Episode 1 of Dragon Half. If you'd like to watch along, then start watching now. So, every now and again, I've been known to like a little standalone OVA, and I had heard about Dragon Half. I just thought it might be interesting, so that's why I'm doing it. Although, that said, that guy's got an interesting name. I may have made a mistake. So I read a slight synopsis about this, and I thought it was about a girl who was basically on a mission to meet the guy she loves, but, I don't know. I'm not sure how this is all gonna work out. Alright, so they really are taking advantage of like the super deformed art style. You know, they do that quite a bit. Everything is really stylized. It's kind of interesting, you know. Like, there are bits of this that are quintessentially of the time period in which they were made. Yeah, you know, I think I might look into the production details a little bit more. So already, things are sort of interesting here. You know, Mink has a bit of an unusual parentage. And, she has a crush on a guy with a rather unfortunate name, which, leads me to believe that this is just sort of playing around and having fun. Honestly, if I had known that guy's name was what it was, maybe I wouldn't have done this. I feel like it's almost like one of those joke names like Bend Over, but it's made by somebody who doesn't speak English as a first language. So it seems like there's a bit of a B-plot here. You know, Mink's father, he's kind of in hot water with a bunch of other people, presumably because he decided to lay the dragon rather than slay the dragon. And, you know, considering these guys have, like magical circles tattooed on their foreheads, they're probably not exactly good guys to cross. Granted, you know, this guy's motivation is more in line with Donkey from Shrek than anything else. Yeah, you know, this whole thing is not serious at all. You know, I'm not really sure what I expected. I mean, they're definitely playing around a little bit, like, sort of, revealing that the eerie smoke was dry ice that had been set up, you know. It's almost like this is like a B-movie or something, like some low production value fantasy film. And, you know, they're playing around with it a little bit, showing all the little production tricks to make things look cool. So it's unfortunate that it seems like by virtue of existing, Mink now has a target on her back. So I do have to wonder, you know, is Mink sort of unique in her parentage or whatever? Because, like, a person and a dragon, I feel like that's, you know, that's very special main character sort of stuff. I mean, it looks like she's friends with an elf, and, as distasteful as that is, being friends with an elf, elves are for killing, not befriending, but, I'm wondering if it's just sort of like a mundane thing, that like, yeah, it happened, what of it? I do think the art style is kind of interesting. It almost reminds me of Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt a little bit, in that the art style frequently changes around. I mean, in this, I feel like it changes every other scene, between that sort of super deformed, partially deformed, and then, I hesitate to say more realistic, but realistic being a relative term, I suppose that's the best thing I could describe it as. I guess it's rather fortunate for Mink that this is a comedy more than anything else, It seems like everybody's just kind of incompetent. He says he got a little excited, but it sure seemed pretty deliberate on his part, But I guess when you're an evil king, wife, daughter, what does it really matter? One's as good as the other. Although that said, the mother, she can transform between a more humanoid form and her true dragon form, but Mink, she just sort of has, I guess, a couple characteristics of both. Alright, well, I guess Mink is smart enough to not fall for an obvious trap. I mean, that business with the ticket notwithstanding. Yeah, it seems that by drugging her and bringing her here, these guys have really screwed the pooch. In retrospect, I'm sort of wondering what their plan was, sort of, doing something that would infuriate a dragon. If the dragon was a big enough problem that he originally sent a great hero to slay it, I feel like doing something to irritate the dragon is not really advisable. Oh dear. So it seems like, the evil king couldn't be trusted. Imagine my surprise. So I guess the question here now is, what's Mink gonna do? Because, she very clearly wants to see this concert, but she no longer has a ticket. And, she doesn't seem to necessarily get along with this woman here, who seems to be well known. I'm guessing if they... Oh dear. I was gonna say, if they both run afoul of the evil king, they might have some common ground here, but, the evil king being her father, that doesn't bode well. And I guess if it weren't enough that she were the daughter of the evil king, she's also a sorceress. If I had to have guessed, I would have said sorceress. She looks like the type. It's rather unfortunate that Mink can't seem to catch a break. Though that said, yeah, I wasn't sure why she was just sort of playing around if she's able to smash giant stones with her bare hands. Oh dear. I guess it seems as though everything has worked out about as well as could possibly be expected. Man, that really is an absurdly silly name. So I guess it sort of makes sense that there's going to be a bit of a love triangle or something. Although, something tells me Dick Saucer here, he's not really going to be interested in anybody. Yeah, I don't know, something about the way they're talking, I feel like things are going to end up with, him not wanting anybody despite their best efforts. Or rather, him going for some anonymous third party that nobody had seen up until that point. So I guess, man, I'm not sure what she's going to do, if the object of her affection has no interest in dragons, then that's it then. You know what? This is kind of neat. I like these various misunderstandings. Like, I need you to do something, your target is a girl. It's like, oh no, I'm not here to babysit, dude. It's like, no, it's okay, she's a dragon, you can kill her. As if that makes it alright. So I'm guessing this is going to be something of a status quo, Mink has to fight off a string of assassins or something like that. Oh dear. Yeah, some legendary hero he is. I don't know, I really don't think going after your daughter's friends is appropriate behavior in any capacity. Alright, so I guess that's our big sort of plot device. There is a very, very rare magic potion that can turn Mink human. And I guess, oh! Okay, so not only is Mink after it, but that evil princess is too. Because she's under, a sort of similar situation, being a half-breed as it were. Man, isn't that convenient? That slime of legend, for want of a better term, just happens to be that princess's mother. I don't know, she looks, pretty darn human. I don't think anybody would really have any big reservations regarding her. Yeah, I guess turning human, that's kind of cool and all, but, man, she doesn't exactly have good taste in men if the king is who she's after. I mean, I guess, going after him for the power and the prestige of being married to a king, but, there really are no other benefits. So, I guess we're probably going to get an explanation. Why does she look human? I guess, presumably because she's studied all sorts of magic in order to transfigure herself. I mean, isn't that good enough? I mean, presumably it isn't. I'm wondering what exactly the mechanics of that potion were. Because if it makes you a human, does it leave your genetics untouched? Because if you become human, surely your offspring should also be human. But I guess, magic, who cares? You don't have to explain it. Yeah, she's not a very, dutiful daughter, threatening her father like that. Okay, so I guess, the transformation spell truly is just, what would you call it, a glamour? It's not a meaningful transformation. More of an illusion than anything else. Yeah, it's interesting that they describe the potion as being incredibly rare and hard to find, but, they're just sort of all going to find it together as if it's not some massive undertaking. Man, you cannot trust elves, just stealing a family heirloom like that. Not only that, she can't use it properly. I feel like, that is no less than what an elf deserves. It does seem like they're, woefully unprepared for this voyage they're undertaking. Granted, Mappy, whatever sort of creature that is, he looks like he can hold his own, but, yeah, I get the feeling that this mercenary is going to run afoul of Mappy. He doesn't seem all that smart, and I feel like he would be willing to make an example of a little fuzzy creature. In fact, I feel like he'd probably try to eat it, only for Mappy to return the favor. Okay, so that is an interesting point that the elf raises. Why would Mink have a belly button if she was hatched out of an egg? The belly button, of course, being the last remnant of the umbilical cord. But, if you're hatched from an egg, you don't have one of those. I don't think there's really any good way to explain that, because it's not a genetic factor, and it's just not something that happens when you hatch out of an egg. I guess they sort of brought it up because this whole thing's kind of unserious and silly. But at the same time, I don't think you should ask questions you don't have good answers for. I do have to say, it's very interesting that he pulled his sword out of his head like that. Oh, she said it. She dropped the title. There we go, guys. Can wrap it up now. Although it's interesting that, she says she's a dragon half rather than a half dragon. It's probably just a quirk of translation. I feel like that's one of those things where even if it literally translates to dragon half, you could just sort of change it to half dragon. Man, elves are menaces. I feel like you shouldn't be calling down lightning if you can't properly aim it. And what's more, I don't know if it would even do anything to this guy. Seeing as how it doesn't really do anything to anybody except cause a little, a brief gag. So I'm wondering precisely what sort of a creature Roshi is here. I would assume some kind of minor dragon or something. Ooh. That's kinda brutal. But at the same time, I feel like something like this would have been inevitable eventually, considering how he stores the sword. Oh my god, they just cooked him! I feel like Roshi probably didn't deserve to die like that. Alright, so I guess if the situation weren't dire enough, searching for that rare potion, our romantic hero here is now, presumably going to take up the task of slaying the dragon. So naturally, I can only assume this will bring him into conflict with Mink. Yeah, I imagine this will probably end with the big misunderstanding becoming resolved. I mean, the king, he's lying right now saying that, the red dragon disguises itself as this beautiful girl, but I feel like, once they finally get down to it, they'll realize that the evil king is in fact an evil king and a liar, and he'll probably face some sort of comeuppance. Yeah, perhaps foolishly, Mink is kind of optimistic, but she really shouldn't be considering what we know is about to happen. Alright, well that's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, then by all means, tune in for the next one. See you, Space Cowboy.